Hey. Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Another video. Hopefully it's interesting and holds your attention. I don't do the videos just to do. I do them to get some information out and to maybe that you all can help bring some information in. Remember, we're all in this together. We've all got one goal, and that's to find Summer Wells and find out what happened to her. Two questions. Where's Summer Wells? What happened to her? That's what we want. Before I start this video, I want to remind everybody there'll be a disclaimer at the end. I put a disclaimer on all of our videos. For what purpose? I don't know. Just because we was told to do it. We was told that we had one of the best disclaimers that you could have out there. That's, again, person asked earlier in a comment, why would you sell everything, then say you're not worried about lawsuit? Why we sold everything, guys. We sold our house. We have nothing. Do our vehicles. That's why we're not worried about lawsuits, because we sold everything. But even though we did all that and we're incorporated, but that didn't mean that we wanted to show malice or be malicious or falsely disseminate any kind of information. Or we don't want to do that. Slander nobody, libel nobody. We don't want to do that. That's not our goal. But it also makes it a little bit harder for people to sue, because now they got to get the money out of their pocket. Not very many attorneys out there is going to take a case where the people are broke. The people, there's nothing to get. Okay, we get them for this. We get them for that. Okay, you won the case. Hoorah, you won. Didn't win no money. See, lawyers don't drive these Mercedes and BMWs from bragging about how good their skills are and how many cases they won. They do that from winning cases that had something, a reward at the end or a payday at the beginning. Now, if you've got payday, if you've got money to hire lawyers, you can file all kinds of suits. Doesn't mean they're going to win. See, there's something called a jury. I love juries because juries are smart. Doesn't mean they're going to win that, and they'll represent you to the best of their ability. Doesn't mean you're going to win. So at the end of the day, you probably lost whatever money you've spent, or they would have taken the case for you on a contingency, thinking, well, at the end of the case, we'll split these people's inheritance. We'll split these. There is none. Took my inheritance while my mother was alive. But anyway, everything I say in this video, guys, is alleged, opinion, speculative. I try to be truthful and honest, correct. Don't be mean to nobody. But in the same turn, if somebody has been mean to me and brought, then I want to discuss it. I want to talk about it. And that's what we're going to do today. You know, yesterday I put a video out, or day before, whenever it was, where I went out to the vehicle. It's funny how God works. I know this person doesn't like me to talk about God, but it's funny how God works, because I went out to the vehicle. Some people said, oh, it was to imitate somebody else. Now, I went out to the vehicle to get out of the house, out of the apartment. We live in an apartment. So Sheila, and the apartment is so small, there's nowhere in here I could go that I could make a video that Sheila wouldn't hear me, or I would feel her kicking me or hitting me. Or I went out to the vehicle to make that video so I could cut loose. Remember, I said I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner, probably going to be a sinner. It's hard for me to get over old. I went in the Marine Corps at 17 years old, and if I think it, I say it. And I went out there because I was going to turn loose. I was really going to let go. And I got out there in that vehicle, and God touched me, and I could have stayed in here and done the video. I didn't have to go out there because there was nothing I didn't get mean. I said pretty much what I wanted to say, but I said it in a whole lot nicer manner. So sometimes I think I'm never going to change completely. Sometimes I I struggle, but at the same time, God's bringing me along slowly but surely. We're going to talk about this. This is going to be interesting to a lot of people. This seems to be the talk of the town, the talk of the Summer Wells case. And I said, if they wanted drama, bring it. I'm no stranger to drama. I'm no stranger to, it just seems like the older you get, the less you want of it, I'm not going to say I ever enjoyed it, but I never run from it. Never run from nothing. I don't enjoy the drama, but I won't be threatened. I won't be intimidated. Marine Corps at 17, worked undercover drugs in Eastern Kentucky. Now, people can talk about Tennessee, Arkansas. They can talk about all these, New York. You work undercover drugs in Eastern Kentucky, and you live through it for as many years and make as many arrests as myself and my detective partner made. You ain't got no fear. You ain't got no fear. You ain't got no sense. One, probably a little bit of both, but we were good at what we done. And what we done was for the children of that community. We felt like we declared war on drugs, and we did. We put out everything we could to, and we did good. Bad thing was we had a justice system, a sheriff and a Commonwealth attorney that all about politics, and we didn't realize that for a long time. We weren't as good at detectives as we thought, because it took us a while to, I don't know if it took us a while to realize it or a while to actually come to terms with it and believe. It's another story. Only thing I'll comment on this, I want to explain something to some people, because I still hear comments every now and then. That's okay. Comment, guys. You can't say nothing. I've never been called in 40 years as a police officer. You can't. But I do like to at least address questions when they're asked or comments when they're made. And the comment about the cameras. Why were you filming when you went up on their property, on Candace and Don? This is not about Candace and Don. This is the only question I believe that pertains to them that I'm going to bring up. People just don't seem to understand. Now, some people said, oh, you were brave. Oh, you was crazy. Oh, you wonder Don didn't shoot you. Oh, it's a wonder we had God. But, guys, there's times my partner and I used to go meet with the sheriff. He started telling us to bring in, who you going to arrest? I want to see the list before you go get the warrants. Bring it to me first. Why would he want to see it? We're the detectives. We work the case. We're going to make the arrest. Why would the sheriff want to see? And then we finally took the list and go in there with the names, and the sheriff would cross this one, and this one out and say, okay, yeah, what are you doing, Fuzzy? Well, that one right there, I wouldn't care if a person planted something on him. I gave him $250 to go haul voters for me, and blank if he didn't go haul my opponent's voters. But these other ones, leave them. The ones he just crossed out, leave them. What do you mean leave them? Don't worry about it right now. Don't. We'd say if we don't get them, that's like shutting Piggly Wiggly and Kroger's down, and everybody going to go to Food City to buy their groceries. That's when we realized we had a problem. That's when we stood up. My point there was my partner and I, we both carried ankle holsters with backup pistols on us. When we go visit the sheriff, when we would go to the office to see the sheriff or the John Paul Runyon, Commonwealth attorney, or the Sheriff Fuzzy Kazee, we felt safer with a tape recorder in our ankle holster than we did with a pistol. We would take our gun out of our ankle holster and leave it in the car, and we would put our tape recorders in our ankle holsters. And when we go in the sheriff's office, we sit in front of his desk. Who was sitting in front of his desk would cross their legs, so their tape recorder is right here almost level with his desk. Weird. We felt safer with the tape recorder than we did with guns around our own supervisor, our sheriff, our employer. Sad but true. Lost their jobs over. We turned them into the FBI, and you can follow along and go to Fred McCoy 40, go down to the videos and look at the FBI agent. We turned them into an FBI agent. They end up killing his informant. Seen a lot. My point is, we felt safer with the tape recorder than we did with a gun. Now, when Sheila and I walked up on that hill, Sheila and I are both Kentucky firearms instructors. Sheila, we have both taught thousands and thousands. I'm a police firearms instructor, trained police officers, one of the first instructors trained in the first class when the law passed in Kentucky in 1996, where you could get a carry concealed permit. Sheila was in the next class. I'm an instructor trainer. I have other instructors. Sheila and I was full with guns since we was knee high to a grasshopper in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. We both grew up with guns. Sheila and I had protection. When we were going up on that hill in Tennessee, we had protection. I carry concealed permit, Sheila and I both, but I'm also LEOSA, law enforcement carry. I'm a retired police officer, so I have a LEOSA where I can carry in any state. We both were carrying. We both had protection when we went up on that hill. Had something happened and we felt threatened and we had to defend ourselves, there's no doubt in my mind that we couldn't have done that. It's the way we are. We had the phone, we had the tape recorder, we had the mics on. We had that one for our protection. As YouTubers, Sheila and I feel safer. If you had to give us the choice, do you want to carry protection here or there, wherever you carry it at, or do you want to carry a tape recorder or GoPro or your phone? Or we'd probably choose the GoPro and the phone. YouTubers, we're on people's property. All they had to do was ask us to leave. We asked Candace, she wants to go. No, she said. Don said, you can tape me. He never said he wasn't taping. I'm not going to elaborate on it, but that's the story. So when we went on that property, we had our recorders going. If we ever come around, be suspected, because we're probably recording if it's something that's controversial, or we're going to protect ourselves for court purposes, for the police when they get there if something does happen. Now, if something hit the fan, we would have probably threw the recorders down and went for other protection, but at least on that video, it would have got to shown what brought that on and who was the aggressors. So I'll compliment on that. It wasn't trying to be secretive. That was our protection. Guys, I've got all kinds of questions, got all kinds of comments. Like all of my videos now, they're all over the place, and especially when I don't have Sheila helping me and follow me along. Again, Sheila doesn't fool with controversial stuff, and she feels that this is controversial. She just doesn't argue with people. I admire her for that. I wish I could do that. That's why I said we bowed out. We both bowed out in the beginning. Bowed out gracefully. Wouldn't have it. Wouldn't have it no other way. Done six or seven videos, anywhere from 8 or 10 hours long to 2 hours long. Just boom, 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 boom. That don't scare me. That don't scare Fred McCoy. So when I read these notes here, it may be something. I may go to the next note and it may say something else. Some of these came from YouTube where people make comments. And when you ask a question, especially good questions, I'll address them. Jody and Andy wouldn't have been stupid enough to bury. Guys, we're not saying Jody, Andy, Damien. We're not saying that they done anything with anybody or had anything to do with it. Sheila and I are not accusing anybody of anything, including Don and Candace or Grandma. We're not accusing them. We're certainly not accusing any of the other several people that Jody has pointed her fingers at or named as possible suspects, or we're not accusing nobody. We're not going to do that. We have some questions. We have some questions that we feel are interesting and relevant to this case. Jody and Andy wouldn't have been stupid enough to bury on their property. That was one of the comments somebody made in one of the videos, I guess. Okay, good. We never said Jody or Andy buried anybody on their property. We said that we'd like to see 125 Ben Hill Road searched with the cadaver dog. While I'm at it, guys, in case I forget, thank you. Ryan Finds Truth. Excellent, excellent YouTube channel. If you're not a subscriber to them, you should subscribe. Very, very wise, very intelligent, very careful on what they do. They're younger. They're younger, and they're more apt to watch what they say, and they probably have some stuff. I don't know, some materialistic stuff. When you don't have anything, you're not as I say things that probably other people wouldn't say. I say what I think a lot of times. But Ryan Finds Truth. You may want to go watch that. He went and searched the area. They actually went and searched the hill. Now, they didn't have a dog. I wish they would have. He's got a dog now. I'm hoping that Andy, they tell me that Andy has, his mother owns the property, Polly. Polly owns the property. I'm hoping that Andy go talk, because I think this guy done Andy right. He was nice and polite. Everybody that was there searching Andy's property with Andy, they were nice too. Andy was nice to them. He acted like he didn't have nothing to hide. So we're hoping that Andy goes and talks to Polly, his mother, who owns the property, and says, hey, Mom, can those people come back with a dog and let them, and if they approve that and they let them come back, I hope Ryan and his group, I hope they search every crack and cranny. I know they were up on the ridge. They got up on top of the mountain. And I'm hoping they search down lower. Down lower. I don't think people would have carried somebody that far or done anything if they buried her. You got to look for groundhog holes. You got to look for raccoon dens. You got to look for, it may just be guys, can you imagine you could take a 30, 40 pound child? You can take a 30 or 40 pound, 3 to 4 foot child, especially when they're deceased, especially what they did to Jaden Spicer. His mother put him in a tote, a little tote, folded him up and put him in a tote. As little as Summer was, you could put her in a duffel bag. You could have folded her up, deceased, and put in a duffel bag, no bigger than she was. You could go to a raccoon den or a groundhog hole and dig it out a little bit. It's already soft dirt because the groundhog's been digging. Dig it out, push her back in there, put the dirt back, put a rock in front of it. Not saying that's happened. I don't know. Don't know. Would they be stupid enough to bury a, who's stupid enough to kill a child? Who's stupid enough to do some of the things that's done? Who's stupid enough to say some of the things they say when they're, I don't know. I know that it happens. We have proof of it, of certain things, because certain things are right on video and audio. So for the person that said you don't think they're stupid enough to bury, maybe not. We're not saying they buried anything at all. We're not saying their son, Damien, buried anybody or anything or done anything wrong. We're not saying that. We're saying people needs to be looked at harder. And I think Andy, by him allowing them to come back with a cadaver dog and them searching every crack and cranny, they may be up there for 2 weeks if we have to do a GoFundMe page for them, so they can pay for their hotel bill, their gas, their food. Take that drug dog up there, let us know, start them a GoFundMe page they can, and we'll give to it, we'll donate. Let them take that dog, and thank you, Andy, if you can get them approved to do that with Polly, your mother, that would be so great. Guys, I'm not pointing fingers at nobody. I'm pointing fingers at nobody, but and maybe somebody knows. I'm not even on my notes. It just came to me. Is it true? Or because Ryan brought out some good comments, because somebody said that somebody blocked off the road and Sheila had repeated it. And we're not thinking they were talking about the main road. Maybe that was Andy's driveway, period, to keep people from going up their driveway, blocked off their property to their driveway. Because the police would have had the main road blocked off. But again, when you listen to YouTubers and other people, we may have misconstrued what somebody else said. That could very well be on us. No problem. That's why we're talking to you guys. That's why we put it out here. Michelle After Midnight. Very interesting video she did. Very inquisitive, very knowledgeable, very smart, intelligent lady. She's not been flattering to us sometimes on some of her videos. You don't have to be. We don't. We're too old for that, guys. We're looking for a child. We're looking for summer. We don't care if you're flattering to us or not. If you see mistakes we make, put us back in line. Set us on the straight and narrow. That's fine. But very smart lady and picks up on things, and she's not afraid to admit that she's looking at things differently. And that's what we're asking about these YouTubers. Some of these YouTubers, we know they have history. Some of these YouTubers, we know they have reputations. We all have things. People don't like some of the things Sheila and I say. Again, we say not everybody's completely always right on their videos, or we don't profess to be. But imagine all of us working together, picking out the good things that each one's got. Look over the bad. Just skim over it. Or if you don't want to discuss something, do like Ryan does. Ryan just skips over. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Well, that's great that he's not, but it's also an example of how this person, people would rather, and I can understand that. I'm not putting Ryan, I don't blame him. Remember how I got into the drama here now is I said, bowing out gracefully. Wouldn't allow it. I bowed out gracefully. We made a video that come out, and we made a video about the neighbor just questioning what was the complaint was, and we seen a YouTube channel, we seen a response, and we said, whoa, we don't want to deal with this. We don't want to. And we bowed out. But we'd already bowed out, but after we bowed out, then we get attacked for bowing out. Sheila's still, I ain't going to say bowed out, Sheila's still researching, but she's not going to argue she's not going to argue. She's better than that, better woman than that. Me, I'll get in the gutter. I'm sorry, I'm struggling. I'm a sinner. Count me in, especially if it's got to do with summer and solving this case. Count me in. I'll get in the gutter with you. You may. Let's move on. Once she stated she heard a scream, she became a witness, not a suspect. And then took the suspicion off them because they're witnesses. I'm talking speculative. You know, it's funny. I'll insert something because in one of my videos I said that, and I noticed her in this video, and she uses God's name, and what kind of language is that? What kind of English is? She attacks me. I've never heard that word. That word, is that even a word? That word don't exist. I'm sorry. If Sheila was here right now, she'd be kicking me. That's why I call her my sidekick. She gives me them sidekicks. But she did. This lady said, is that even a word? I've used it all my life. I'm from the mountains, eastern Kentucky. I'm a hillbilly. I don't try to be something I'm not. Don't try to talk like somebody I'm not. But after she said that, I did go look it up just to see, out of curiosity, and I'll show you. It's a word. Not used that often, but it's a word. I don't care if it's a word or not. It's my word. Is hornswoggled a word? Some people may be getting hornswoggled by people. I don't know. Are we? Have they been getting hornswoggled for years? Don't know. TBI can tell us that. The new sheriff, Scott Stewart, hopefully he's going to tell us that. I hope Scott Stewart comes in there and God puts a light and a blessing on him that he doesn't care about hurting feelings. He's the new sheriff. He's there. He don't have to worry about being reelected. He don't have to worry about pleasing nobody. Treat people with respect and dignity. Follow the leads and go for the truth. God bless them. Guys, when this lady, I don't know if all of you recognize this or not, when this lady said she heard a scream, I heard a scream over there. Now, Grandma and Candace was out here sitting on her steps in front of her camper. Right over there is the dog path on the other side of the house down the hill. Jody's house is across the way and up the hill even farther, higher up, farther up. They were in the house, supposedly, 3 of them. She says 3 of us was in the house. We heard a scream. The boy says it was an animalistic scream. They said her and her boy went outside to look. They were together. They went outside to look. They didn't see nothing. They went back in. Now, had the police got there, and I could be wrong. If I'm wrong about anything, that's how we get our clues. That's how we get our information. Please put it in the comments. Anybody. We appreciate it. But the way we understand it, when the police got there, she was already down on the road with her purse fixing her flowers. But now she's down in front of the Candace's house. Jody was already down in front of the house by then when the boys come down the hill. She's already down there. Now, when the police come, she tells them she heard a scream across the way, animalistic scream. Why would any deputy, sheriff, detective, police officer, TBI, state police, why would anybody, federal agents, why would anybody look at this person as a suspect? Now, I'm not saying she's a suspect now. I'm saying she's a person of interest because according to the sheriff, Ronnie Lawson, he says that nobody's been ruled out. I want to repeat that always. Nobody's been ruled out. When he rules somebody out, then I'll have to move on and start looking, we will, at somebody else. If he says they're ruled out and the evidence is that strong that he would make a commitment like that, because how embarrassing it would be if somebody's ruled out, God forbid, he comes back out and that's the person that was actually, that'd be embarrassing. But when she told the police, we heard scream. She went from being a suspect, a person of interest, of anything at that time. There's no need in searching this property behind us, guys. That path ended there at that road. That child was either picked up and carried off, or that child was put in the car. Or the dogs quit right here. What happened? What happened? So when she became a witness, nobody would have said, let's go search this property. Let's check the neighbor out. Let's do. Now, they might have later on. They might have a week later, a month later, a year later. I don't know if they ever did it all or how big a search they did on that property. But when she became a witness, she was no longer a person of interest or a suspect to them at that point. It's called a clue. Doesn't mean that she had anything to do with anything. I can't say that enough. I'm going to say that throughout these videos. And I'm also going to issue, you're going to hear her in this video somewhere. She says, I'm issuing a cease and desist. Well, that's not the first ones I've got, hon. That's not the first ones I've got. Cease and desist. I'll do the same to you. I'll order you a cease and desist. Quit slandering. Quit libeling. Quit doing what you're doing. Now we're even. Andy and Polly's mother asked for permission. Go search. Sometimes you have to poke the bear. Somebody said, oh, Fred, you poked the bear now. You poked the bear. Well, actually, tried to bow out. Sometimes you have to poke the bear in order to trigger a response. Remember this? It gives a person time to think about what you just said, or give them a minute to contemplate on what they want to reply and so forth. It's trigger a response. Do you trigger a response by doing certain things, letting them have time to think? She really thought that was something. It really confused Jody on how Fred takes his glasses off. Why did he clean his glasses for? He just cleaned them 5 minutes ago. Well, got your attention, dear. But it also gave you time when I took them glasses off to just think about what I just said, probably. Doesn't mean she's guilty of anything. I think her and her son needs to be looked at. I do. I think law enforcement's going to be, if you got a good interrogator, be an interesting. I'd like to talk to her. Ain't got no authority. I don't want to talk to her one-on-one. I don't want to talk to her in the parking lot like once upon a time we did until we saw her videos and see how that would go. That would definitely go south in a hurry, me and her in person. But boy, what a police officer, in my opinion, I could be wrong. Sometimes you just want to trigger a response and see what the response exposes. What that person, and I think she's been triggered a couple of times. I think if you watch these 6 or 7 videos, the last 6 or 7 videos she's made, they're hard to watch, hard to listen to, but watch them. Also hoping it leads law enforcement to re-interview her and her son, especially her son. I hope they interview her son wherever he's stationed at on the base, and they take him in a room and sit him down and explain to what's going on and where they're at in their investigation and the seriousness, and where 2 or more is involved. One of them may just be covered for somebody. One of them may be guilty. One may be covered. Let's talk hypothetically. If a mother loves her son or her child so much that she would cover for him for years and years, and that's a mother's love, that's understandable. She covers for him so much that it's bothered her so much that it's really torn at her. Does a son or a daughter or a child love their mother as much? Do they love their mother as much as the mother loves them? Would they sacrifice themselves if they did do something wrong and say, hey, clear my mom. I don't want my mom involved. My mom was just covering for me. My mom was just taking up for me. My mom was being a mom. Anything. I'm hypothetically. Again, guys, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened to that child. I know there's been allegations of peeping toms. I know there's been allegations of people seeing people in the woods. I know there's been allegations of swimming pools. I don't know. Do I have prime suspects in my mind? Oh, yeah. Could I be wrong on who my people of interest are? I could be wrong. That's up to the law enforcement. They got to find that out. Says she wants to find Summer, but when somebody mentions law enforcement searching 125 or 125 Ben Hill Road, she has a coronary. I've mentioned this before in my talk video, so I won't elaborate, but what's up, guys? She spends 5 years on the internet. 5 years on the internet, wanting to find Summer, pointing her finger at this one, that one, this one, even her. Daddy's baby's daddy, points a finger about drugs and different things. Didn't turn him in when he was doing it. Didn't turn him in as long as he was with her. But boy, when he left her, well, search for 5 years for Summer. That's her goal. And then you vaguely mention, Sheila and I believe that 125 Ben Hill Road needs to be searched with a cadaver dog. Whoa. What's that all about? Is that suspicious? Is that a clue? I don't know. In my opinion, and other people's, it's a clue. It's a clue. Why would you don't live there? You don't own the property. Anything that's there doesn't mean it's going to be tied to anybody in particular. I heard Mr. Ryan say could have been, or maybe it was after dark. I heard her say, somebody said could have been put there after they moved off the property? We don't know. First of all, let's search the property and see if there's anything there. If we don't find anything there, then all this speculation, all this nonsense talk was for nothing. There's nothing there. Why would we get so upset just because somebody wants to search the property? Whoa. Now that really should be a clue to law enforcement that you may want to search that property, guys. That's called a clue. Now, if something would have been found and then she goes off the deep end and says, well, then you can defend yourself, say, well, I was already moved away. I don't know when that was put there. I don't know about. But just because somebody says they want to search the property, she's been gone. There's no way that they could just find something and then just tie it straight into her or anybody else, unless maybe they got some DNA. Maybe there's a hair particle. Maybe there's anything. Anything is. God works in mysterious ways. Again, we are not accusing anyone of anything. Simply looking for clues. That's what these videos are about. These videos are looking for clues. Why would someone get so upset over law enforcement searching 125 Ben Hill Road when a person says she's dedicated for 5 years to finding Summer? You get ready to find her. You think, well, let's look up here for her. She may be here. Whoa. You've looked for her for 5 years and wanted to find her, and then somebody says, let's search this property and try to find Summer. Whoa. Law enforcement, I do believe her and her son need to be interviewed. I believe her son needs to be interrogated. I believe he needs to be put in a room, read his rights, and interrogated and asked some hard questions. How many times had he been up on that property? Why did Don and Candace have aluminum foil on their windows, on their ground floor windows? Why did they have aluminum? Why were they worried about having aluminum foil? Maybe they have some new information. Maybe Candace or Jody and her son Damien, maybe they have new information they'd like to get off their chest or disclose to them. Somebody was asking a question about mental health. I'm almost done with this. Then I've got 3 or 4 little skits here I want to let you, little videos that I've made from her. Her own words out of her own mouth. And let's see what we make of that. But sometimes people develop a mean and retaliatory personality in order to keep questions down or suspicions down on themselves. It puts others on defense. I don't want to pinpoint nobody. I'm sorry, guys. I just bring things out. I don't mean to belittle. I'm not even belittling. It's just the fact of life and the way people are. And I like these people. I like their channel, but I'm going to use them for an example. Last night, I was watching a good video of Ryan and the truth. Finds the truth. He gets to a certain part of the video where we're talking about something, and he moves it on by. Fast forwards. Don't want to talk about that. Don't want to talk about that. Don't want to talk about that. Because Jody does this. Jody does that. Don't want. And that's exactly, I'm not saying this about Miss Brown. I'm not saying this about her at all. I'll ask it in a question form. Could that be her strategy? Could that be her strategy? Have you ever seen somebody so loud or so obnoxious or so mean that you don't even want to? Again, I'll tell somebody says 2 + 2 = 5, and to keep from arguing with them, you say, oh, yeah, that's right. You got to carry the 1. You just want to agree with them. You don't want to do nothing to make them do a 6-hour or 8-hour or 10-hour video on you. I don't care how many videos I'm 70. Boys, listen, I told you, ask me anything. I'll tell you anything, dude. I don't care. We're looking for a child. I don't care, first of all, because we're trying to find Summer. And I don't care, second of all, because God sent us here. We're here for a reason. If it's a reason to get Michelle after midnight, Ryan, all these different YouTubers together and say, hey, look how these people, some of these people was bickering and arguing. Some of these people didn't get along. And then all of a sudden you got a common denominator, Summer Wells, and they all start coming together and getting along. I didn't know this person didn't get along with so many people. All I can say is when you don't get along with nobody, you better look at yourself. I was watching a video the other night, and she's thinking she's naming YouTubers that I've never heard of. I haven't even seen her channel. But if they've covered anything on Summer, I hope people goes and subscribes to their channel and gives them thumbs ups or anything they can do, because if they're trying to help find Summer, if they're a friend of Summer Wells, they're a friend of mine and Sheila's. Could people just be doing like this as a defense? They put you on defense so you won't be able to ask them questions or attack them or inquire of them. Could they be doing that? I'm not saying that about this person. I'm just saying in my opinion, and I'm stating facts from experience. Guys, I got a little bit of experience. I've seen people that points the finger at other people. I've seen people, there's career criminals. Google. There's career criminals out there that does that. And they're good at it. And they point fingers at everybody and their uncle. They point fingers at everybody except themselves or the person they may be trying to protect. Again, not saying this is true. They may come out tomorrow and say, we found Summer, we found who it was that abducted her or done whatever to her, and here's who it is. It got nothing to do with this woman or her son. I'm not saying it does. I'm saying they need to be interviewed again. They need to be cleared. Let's do them some justice. Do them some justice. If they're still in, the sheriff says everybody's still in the mix. Nobody's been ruled out. Well, let's rule some people out, guys. As we start coming to them, and these detectives, they may not be able to rule everybody out. But there's going to be some that they say, nope, he was in Chicago, Illinois. Rule him out. He can't be here. This one here was in the hospital having surgery. Nope, he wasn't here. When you can rule people out, rule them out. If they're rule outable, rule them out. Better watch that word. She'll be checking to see if that's really a word. Rule them out. I'm not going there. It also seems to have worked, as everyone seems to be in fear of her mentioning them or doing a 6-hour video on them. Her and her son's persons of interest. That's all I'm saying. According to the sheriff, she's still a person of interest, even though the sheriff states nobody has been ruled out. I've watched and I've recorded many of these videos since we went at 110. After Sheila and I got done with Don, Candace, and the mother and going over all the questions that we could with them, we said, okay, who's next? Well, let's move across the street, the next door neighbor. Then we see you got Damien running to the woods. You've got saying she's working on her flowers with the purse. She just happened to be down the driveway. Then you got her where she just happens to be down in front of Candace's house when the boys come down there. Then she walks through the creek because she don't want to mess up a dog scent. Who shows up looking for a child? When's the last time a neighbor lost a child or somebody and you showed up and the first thing you think of when you get there is, oh, I got to watch. I don't want to mess up the dog's scent. It's not normal thinking, guys. That's just not normal. Even as police officers, sometimes you don't go into a scene thinking that. You're thinking, we're going to find this kid. Okay, guys, let's get busy. We're going to find her. Who right off the bat says, I don't want to mess this dog scent up. I've watched many of these videos since we went from 110 to 125. Since I saw a video that she did where she got very upset when we asked about 125, and I found many points of interest, and I'm hoping law enforcement picks up on these points of interest also. I've also heard this person threaten lawsuits against many people, including myself. Guys, again, I can't tell you enough. If you're familiar with our Hatfield McCoy videos or any other videos that we've done, all we can do is when people threaten to sue, just say sue. Expect a counter sue. Now, I think Jody's about like us. I don't think she's got a pot to pee in her or a window to throw it out. I don't believe she's got nothing. But the good thing about filing a counter suit is you can expose her to questions. You can expose her to depositions, sworn under oath depositions. You know, the feds, The feds, you got to admire the feds, because the feds has a law. They have a law in effect that if you lie to them, it's 5 years. Do you know that the feds convict more people of lying to them, simply lying to them, telling them a mistruth, than they do for the original crime that they were investigating them for? How is that? That's a great something to have as an interrogator, instead of the sheriff's department or maybe they need a fed with them. Take an FBI agent in there with you, where she's also talking to him, or Damien, or anybody, any of these people you talk to, any of them, Candace, the mom, grandma, Don, have an agent with you. I've seen cases where they've investigated people for other things. They didn't get them on whatever it was they was after them for or investigating them for, but they got them because they told a fib to the FBI. Great law to have. Can you imagine this lady threatens to sue? Just imagine this. Moving on, but can you imagine a jury, a civil jury, because it's a civil case. The law is not the same as a criminal case. It has a lot more leniency in. But can you imagine forcing a jury to sit there, especially Christians, good Christian people, God-fearing people, and you're hearing GD this and GD that, and there's no. Can you imagine, where was God? Why didn't God protect? Can you imagine? I don't care if you're on a jury or not. People's got personal feelings. People's got personal. Go ahead and file your lawsuit. Don't be intimidated, guys, by lawsuits. Don't be intimidated by people that threatens. Let them file their lawsuits. Put them in court. Let a jury sit and listen to some of these 6, 8, 10-hour videos, and if she wins, she's got her a W. If she wins with Sheila and I, she's got her a W. That's what she's going to go away with, a W. I beat them. Because there's nothing there to be had. Her, and I hope the lawyer got his money up front, because all she's going to have is a W. I got a law enforcement story to tell here, but I won't. Maybe someday I'll tell it, but this video is going to be long enough the way it is. Guys, we don't know any of these people, and surely not accusing anyone of wrongdoing. I'm pointing out all kinds of things that I believe would be good to ask in an interview or a polygraph. I am doing that, but we're not accusing. I'm not pointing the finger at this person. I am not. I'm pointing the finger at her, as far as I think law enforcement needs to look at her again, talk to her again, interrogate her. There's a difference in an interview and an interrogation. And you let them know what the difference is. They know an interview is no big deal. I just got to tell them my story. That's all they want, my story. When you're doing an interrogation, you're at least two of you, and maybe somebody else behind the window, professional or something, just evaluating. And they know you're looking at them in a different. An interrogation is a lot more serious than an interview. I think she's had an interview. I think she's a smart lady. I don't think an interview scared her at all. Not that anybody should be scared. If you're telling the truth and you're really wanting to find Summer Wells, an interrogation shouldn't scare you. If you're really wanting to find Summer Wells and you don't know anything, or didn't have nothing to do with it, or don't know anybody that had anything to do with it. She's the one that says she wants the polygraph. She's the one that says she wants to find Summer Wells. She's the one that says she heard a scream that nobody else heard other than her and her two children inside the cabin. Nobody else heard. They heard a scream inside of a cabin way up the hill when Candace and Grandma was outside. You think Candace and Grandma, had they heard a scream like that, you think they wouldn't have told the police as an alibi to say, hey, something happened to her. We heard her over the hill scream. We heard a animalistic scream. You think they wouldn't be tickled to death to use that out if they were involved? I don't know that they wasn't, but if Grandma and Candace was involved, do you think if they could have used that at the time, they wouldn't have said, yeah, we heard her scream. She screamed over the hill. Somebody must have been kidnapping her. Somebody must have been carrying her off. They didn't say that. They're outside at the camper. They're inside of a cabin. Curious? Let's see how curious it is. The news people asked the sheriff about it. What about the scream? The sheriff said, it's unfounded. It's unfounded. We don't put no stock in it. Whatever. I'll try to find that video. I'll put it up right here.
Neighbor, hear a scream.
Best I recall, it's been a couple months ago. I think that was unfounded.
Well,
the sheriff says he didn't find no truth in it. He's not giving it no merit. In the way I interpreted what Mr. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson said. Now, she says all that stuff, but boy, you mentioned, let's check the property with some dogs. She has a come apart. I'm not a smart person, but does that sound logical to you guys? Not a smart person. Talking about the history of the Hatfields and McCoys, my ancestors on both sides. I'm Hatfield and McCoy. So for the ones that says, oh, we take up for the Hatfields, or we take up for both guys, every which one you take up with is fine with me. I'm both. Great-grandmother was a Hatfield, great-grandfather was a McCoy. Guys, I'm going to start this. This is already an hour long, so this is going to be a long video, which is okay with me. Again, I hope the people that watches these are really the inquisitive, the investigators, and see if you pick up on anything that.
And these two total cease and desist. And keep waging one man more and more as it already.
Guys, it's just a little bit longer, but why does it have to be a war? Waging a one-man war. You're a little late, buddy. One-man war? Remember, I had bowed out. She's the one that come back asking these questions. Now I've gotten the gutter or gotten into the drama, if you want to call it that. I'm still investigating it. Sheila and I are still looking at things. We're still investigating, but she calls it a one-man war. We asked that 125 be searched with cadaver dogs, and she goes off the deep end, and now she says, you're waging a one-man war. Why is it a war? I thought we were looking for summer. Keep listening.
Say more plans ain't worked before and ain't gonna work now.
Plans, guys. Plans have not worked before, and they're not going to work now. Is that questionable, or is that just maybe she's just mumbling? Is she mumbling or is she bragging? Nobody's found nothing before. They're not going to find nothing now. See, as a former police officer, when you're dealing with a homicide, you need a body or you need a witness. I'll just put it to you straight. If a person can get rid of the body and there was no witnesses, you probably got away with murder. If you can keep your sanity, if you can keep your mouth shut, probably got away with murder. Now, again, I don't know how many times I say it in this video or all my videos, but I'm not pointing the finger. She's the one said it. All I'm doing is giving my opinion on something she said. What does she mean by that? I don't know.
Only so much as, I guess that you can get clicks, views, likes, subs, money off of it.
Collect subs and money off of it. Guys, she's the one sitting here for 5 years. making money off YouTube video, monetary. And I've asked people, don't send donations, don't do nothing. Not when it comes to Summer Wells. Why does she want to? You're waging a war, and then she goes in. The reason we ask for cadaver dogs to search 125 Ben Hill Road is because we want money and subscribers. That's why we ask them to search Ben Hill Road. How much sense does that make? Or does it make sense to you guys? She's mad because we've asked to search 125 Ben Hill Road with a cadaver dog and see if we can find a body of a child. And we're only doing that for subscribers.
So that's what you mean, and that's what your waging war is about, is to get some dineros and innocent lives and destruction, tampering and fucking around with everybody. Sure, buddy.
Innocent lives, guys. The innocent life that we're concerned about was that of a little 5-year-old girl named Summer Wells. You may have heard of her. You've done videos on her for 5 years. That's the innocent life we're talking about. We're asking to send cadaver dogs up on the hill to look for her remains. You're saying we're waging war?
Wage your one-man war for you and Sheila and your...
One-man war would be 2 men. That would be 1 man and 1 woman, dear. What's the deal, guys? What's the deal? Waging war? Up for days on end? On YouTube? Attacking insults? Guys, I'm sorry that some of it was repeated. I had done some on my phone, and then I sat down here to make this video again. It's different when you're doing it by yourself. I don't have my helper with me, so it makes it a little bit harder to do, but hopefully we got through it. I don't think I left nothing out. You're probably thinking, oh, you've repeated it over and over. Well, that's fine. I mean, hopefully I've said something here that will be of interest to somebody. Put your comments down. If there's anything, if you have any information, guys, anything relevant or something rings a bell to you that you think law enforcement can use, don't contact Sheila and I. Contact the TBI or the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, FBI. Contact law enforcement. We're not law enforcement. We just want to see Summer found. We don't have to be the ones find her. Just like all these other YouTubers out here, we all have the same goal. We want to see Summer found, and we want those that responsible for her missing accounted for. Thanks, guys. Catch you on the next one.